thinking Rock may have been poisoned.
The biggest lie Breaking Bad fans tell themselves is that Jesse was the problem. The truth is far uglier.
Well, technically, chemistry is the study of matter.
The tragedy of Breaking Bad is not built on one man's decision, but on a relentless chain of cause and effect, a Rube Goldberg machine of hubris, impulsivity, and poor judgment.
Where we are now, with Hank and Marie and that...
Yet some viewers remain determined to identify a single culprit, often narrowing their sights to Jesse Pinkman. It's a tempting simplification, but an ultimately shallow reading of the series.
So just tell us everything you know about White so we can get him before he gets you.
Yes, Jesse's Desert Sting operation set in motion the final bloodbath. Without it, Hank and Gomez might have lived, Andrea might have been spared, and Walter White might have escaped the neo-Nazis entirely.
What? The ricin cigarette! You had him stolen off of me!
Jesse could have fled after learning about Brock's poisoning instead of going on the offensive. But to pretend this absolves Walt of primary responsibility is like blaming the final pebble for the avalanche while ignoring the man who set off the dynamite.
You want to know why? One word: blowback.
The entire series thrives on these cascading what-ifs.
I'm sorry about Jane.
If Walt had rolled Jane on her side, Jesse might have left Albuquerque with her, preventing the mid-air collision that killed hundreds.
I'm thinking Rock may have been poisoned.
If Walt hadn't poisoned Brock, Jesse wouldn't have exploded in fury. If Walt hadn't suggested to Hank that Heisenberg was still out there, Hank might never have reopened the case.
The reaction has begun.
The narrative is one long chemistry experiment, in which every character is both reagent and catalyst, sparking reactions they cannot control. Still, Jesse's record is hardly spotless.
My partner was about to get himself shot. I intervened.
His attempted assassination of the two street dealers was a direct and suicidal attack on cartel business, forcing Walt's intervention and escalating the Gus-Walt standoff. At times, Jesse's decisions were the product of ignorance, emotion, or sheer recklessness. Unlike Walt's coldly calculated ego-driven moves, Jesse's mistakes often had a frantic immediacy, guaranteeing disaster without the need for elaborate narrative contrivances.
You are a time bomb. Tick, tick, tick.
Mike's assessment that Walt was a ticking time bomb could apply to Jesse as well, only his fuse burned erratically. Walt, however, weaponized pride on an industrial scale. The story could have ended quietly at Gretchen and Elliot's birthday party if he'd accepted their lucrative job offer.
The truth is, he never took their money, not a dime. He was too proud to take what he considered to be charity.
Instead, he rejected financial help, recoiling from even the appearance of charity. He chose empire building over dignity, transforming every relationship into a proving ground for his masculinity and genius.
If I was in the meth business or the money business.
This stubborn refusal to swallow his pride is the true motor of the show's destruction. Had he accepted that job, Skyler would be content, Hank and Gomez alive, Mike retired, and Kaylee enjoying her inheritance. Instead, Walt's ego demanded a meth kingdom.
Those who argue Jesse ruined everything overlook who armed him with the matches.
Remember, fast and painless, and take him away from here. I don't want the mother.
Andrea's murder, often pinned on Jesse for attempting an escape, ignores the fact that the Nazis knew her location because Walt showed them. Jesse's vengeance may have been short-sighted, but the leverage existed only through Walt's betrayal.
Jesse, put out the lighter. He poisoned a little kid.
Even Jesse's plan to burn down Walt's house, dangerous as it was, arose from a history of manipulation, blackmail, and death. To assign sole blame to Jesse is to willfully ignore that Walt brought a gang of neo-Nazis into the desert in the first place, explicitly to kill Jesse.
Pretty specific direction. People tell me to be somewhere, they say west.
He set the scene for Hank's murder long before Jesse lured him there. Hank and Gomez's own decision to arrest a drug lord in the middle of nowhere without backup was suicidal, but their presence was the direct result of Walt's call.
Be partners again. Split everything. 50.
The show's moral architecture resists easy scapegoats. Lydia's desperation for high-quality meth would have ignited further chaos even without Jesse's betrayal. Saul's introduction of Todd was another gear in the machine.
She's not going to the cops. She's not going to tell a living soul.
Skylar's intervention to prevent Walt from surrendering prolonged the carnage. The writers designed a web in which tugging any thread vibrates through the entire structure, ending in ruin regardless of which moment you alter.
We've sent the paperwork to your insurance. It's high priority.
And yes, universal healthcare hypotheticals pepper these debates. If the US offered cancer treatment at no cost, would any of this have happened? Perhaps. But even then, Walt's pride might have driven him into crime regardless. His insurance covered treatment. It was Skylar's insistence on experimental, out-of-network care that ballooned costs. In other words, the inciting crisis was never solely about money. It was about control.
Best Dante ever. Grab that pipe.
Jesse is no hero. He's a drug dealer, a killer, and at times a dangerously impulsive fool. But he is also a product of Walt's gravitational pull, repeatedly drawn into schemes that corroded his moral compass. He made terrible choices, but those choices existed in an environment engineered by Walter White.
You are a drug dealer. Negotiate.
Strip away the counterfactual gymnastics, and one truth remains. Without Walt, there is no empire to topple, no Gus to betray, no Nazis to summon, no Andrea to murder. Jesse may have lit his share of matches, but Walt built the lab, stocked it with chemicals, and locked everyone inside.
But I prefer to see it as the study of change.
The genius of Breaking Bad is that every character is both victim and perpetrator. The writers punish pride, punish stupidity, and punish bad luck with equal cruelty. But if there must be an original sin, it's not Jesse's trap in the desert. It's Walter White deciding that the best way to provide for his family was to become a kingpin. Everything else is just chemistry. You can blame Jesse, you can blame Walt, but blame yourself if you don't hit subscribe.